All right, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us on a cloudy, sort of maybe rainy Monday morning. This is the first of 3 chat sessions this summer. They're basically a month apart, Monday mornings, one in July. Today's the 13th, the one in July is, I believe, the 11th. I can't see you and my computer at the same time. And then the last one is August 15th. And all of these sessions are going to focus on free tools and efficient uses of technology and pedagogies. We figure that in this time of budget tightening, it might be helpful to have some, to focus on some free and efficient tools. So today we're going to be focusing on Google tools. The tools that are associated with Google Drive. And there are 7 of us, so I think we have you outnumbered here to walk you through this session. So from the Outreach School, from Outreach Credit Programs, we have Christy Boggs, Jeff Miller, and Igor, who has walked out for a moment but will be back. From UW Casper, joining us online is Oksana Wasilek. And then from the Center for Teaching and Learning, from the ECTL, me, Meg Wood, Trina Kilty, and Phineas Kelly. So we've got you covered, I think. We are going to start today with just an overview of Google Drive. And then we'll break into very small segments looking at each of the individual tools. So there's few enough of you, I think, that we can individualize that even as a big group. So we really want a lot of input and feedback from you, interaction. If you have questions, we've got lots of time. Slow us down, tell us what you need. And that will be our session today. We'll follow the session this afternoon with a touch session from 1 to 3 up in the Center for Teaching and Learning and 510 F of co-library. And in that session, we'll work with you hands-on. So if you really want to get down and dirty and start playing with some of these tools, come see us this afternoon from 1 to 3. And we'll be happy to play with you. The next 2 sessions focus on the following. The July 11th session is focusing on video and multimedia using free tools like Zoom, which is what we're using to stream the session today. And we have a UW license, or have many UW licenses for. Looking at screen capture, YouTube editing, and the WyoCourses audio and video commenting tool. That's just a brief outline. When we flesh that out, I'm sure there'll be more. On August 15th, we'll be focusing on what we've called rich learning experiences. So thinking about feedback strategies, peer review discussions, and so forth. If you have thoughts about things that you'd like us to focus on in those 2 sessions, let us know, and we'll try our best to build them in. I think that's my job for now. Is that it? I think that's it. All right, so Christy's going to talk about Google Drive.
All right. I guess one other thing that Meg could have mentioned, I just popped into my head, is that we will in the fall, if you're familiar, we have what we call the TNT sessions during lunch. We have these lunch TNT sessions, which we're no longer allowed to give you food for, but we still like you to come and bring your food. And right at the moment, we are accepting proposals. So what the TNT sessions are is faculty members who have great ideas or are using technology in really innovative ways or whatever you're doing. And we're accepting proposals for those right now. So if you're doing something in your classroom that's kind of cool, we would love to have you, put a proposal forth and see if we can do that. So yeah, as Meg said, we're trying to focus on in our time of budget crisis. Please come in and join us. In our time of budget crisis, we're trying to focus on technologies and ways that you can both, free technology that we either have freely available at UW or just free generally, which means that your students have ready access to them as well. And also things that will help you be more possibly help you be more efficient, as well as engaging your students in new and interesting ways. So we're going to talk about Google Drive, which actually has, I believe, 8 tools that are kind of associated with this Google Drive concept. And they're really an amazing suite of tools that really allow you to do a lot of things that are really kind of unique. So, I mean, so we have, you know, things like Word document or Word type thing in Google. But the unique thing about it is that it does a really amazing job of being able to share it. So some of the ways you can use some of these things is you can have your students collaborate on a document, which then you can make public to anybody you want, or you can link to it on a web page. So the ability to work collaboratively in all these spaces. So the word, you know, docs in Word in Google Drive is not as good as Word, but it's real good, and it's completely collaborative, and it works really well. And you know, recently Microsoft has introduced some of these more cloud-based type things, but they don't actually work, in my experience, near as well. They're a lot clunkier, and you have to have Microsoft logins to do that. You do have to have you don't have to have logins for Google to change stuff. It depends on how you set it. So I was just going to Phineas is going to go over kind of a real overview of how this is actually going to work. But I wanted to give you just a quick look at Google Drive. And I don't know why we have stuff off the screen, but let's see if I can do anything about this. Yeah. So let's see. All right. So, okay. So what you can see here is this is your basic Google Drive. And what you have is you have kind of a file set up here, and you can go through and you can see these are the different things that you might have. My Drive, if you create folders, you have the folders under here. If you have shared with me, this means that things that somebody has shared with you as opposed to you creating. So I can click on that and narrow my view a little bit, and you can see all the things that have been shared. I'm guessing this is Jeff's with Jeff by different people. You can have Google Photos, you have recent. I use the recent a lot because that's a lot easier if I'm looking for something that is new. So you can see these in here. And then if you star them, that means basically that they're available offline. So you can access them even if you're not online at that moment. So you can do that as well. You can see the storage here. And what's really cool about this is a lot of storage space. So it's generally a lot more than a lot of things. And I think I have yet to actually fill this up. It's fun. It's interesting. It seems to me as you approach the limit, it like bumps it up or something. I mean, because I actually have, Jeff has 15 showing there. I think I have 30, and I haven't paid for it. And I don't even think that there is actually any kind of mechanism in Google to pay for extra storage. I think it just, I mean, I've never been able to pay for anything on Google. I would actually sometimes like to be able to do something, and I can't seem to do it. So, so it's completely free. And then, although there's an upgrade storage thing here. Anyway, so you kind of get that. You kind of get that overview, and you can see in here, what we can also see in here is these are the actual files. And so when we look at these files, you can see these are different types. This is a form, and this is a spreadsheet. This is a document. And this, you see the W is actually a Word document that's been uploaded to Google and not been changed over to a Google thing. So you can actually view that and look at it. But try to get the idea. You can upload files as well. So you can actually use this as kind of a cloud-based file repository as well as actually using the tools within it. Because you can upload any kind of file you want. You can't always open them in here. So you kind of get that idea. And you can see over here who owns it. So you can see that, you know, a lot of these are owned by different people. Jeff probably has one in here that he actually created, or maybe not. I don't know. Yes, I do. That's why. We'll go back the other. So there, yeah. So Jeff has created some of these things. So you can see the different types of things. You can also see he's uploaded some videos here, or Aaron Spurlock has uploaded some videos here. Anyway, and there's some videos, and you can see some different types of things. You also can look at it. There's different views here. So you can, if you wanted to look at it this way, you can look at it in a different way. You can also do some cool things with searching. So if you search, you can decide, which becomes really important if you start using this extensively, because the one thing that is not, I don't feel is as awesome about Google Drive is the folder, the organizational system can be a little confusing. So when you can do this, you can say, I only want to see, you know, I only want to see the, you know, forms, and or you can search for a name and everything, or the date it was on modified, and you can search, and then it will only show you specific things, which is super helpful. Let's go to any. And so those are kind of the basic things. If you're wanting to create a new document, you just go up to new and add different options. I can create, oh, hang on, let me scroll it back over. So you guys, not that way, this way. So you guys can see it. Yeah. I can create a new folder, so I can try to organize, but I really have found this to be not the easiest. But I can also upload different files, or I can create a different thing right in here. So if I wanted to upload something, so one thing that I will often do is I will upload, if somebody sends me a document, sometimes pretty often I will upload it to Google Drive to do the editing and stuff. And especially if I think instead of doing track changing in Word, where you then have 20 files by the end of it, I will just, if somebody sends me one, I'll just upload it to Google, and then I'll send them a link and say, edit it here. And then we all have it there, and we'll show you how to do that. But you can upload the different things. And then when I'm done, I can download it back to Word, and then I can send it on as Word if that's what I want to do. So that is super handy. So I can upload pretty much anything. I'm not sure that there's been a lot of things I have been unable to upload, but I can upload a lot of different things and keep it in Drive. And it's kind of this cloud-based thing. I end up doing a lot of my stuff, even if I'm going to turn it into a Word document or something, in Google Drive first, because it's backed up to the Google Cloud, and then I don't have to worry about it dying, and it keeps a revision history, which Finish I'm sure is going to show you, so that I can keep track of what has happened. So I can roll back if something terrible happened to my document, or something, or if you're teaching students, sometimes I've had students like delete an entire document, and they're like, oh my gosh, it's gone, and it's okay, you can roll it back, it's fine. So I think that is just kind of a quick overview of how this works. The tools, if we look at the tools here, we have, you can see that there's Google Docs, Sheets. Google Docs is like Word, Sheets is Excel, Slides is PowerPoint, Forms is just really awesome because you can collect all kinds of information by creating a form in lots of different ways. Drawings is a drawing program. Google Maps, everybody's probably familiar with Google Maps. And then we're also going to teach you, talk about Google Voice, because a lot of departments are getting rid of their landlines, and and so as opposed to giving your students your cell phone number, you can create a Google Voice number, and then they can contact you through the Google Voice, and you can decide how and when they contact you. And I'll be talking about that later. So I'm going to turn it over to Phineas, he's going to teach you Google Docs, but he's going to show you all of there's certain features that are kind of ubiquitous through all of the programs, and he's going to kind of go over all of those under Google Docs, and then we'll kind of hit the other ones shorter. So there you go.
Christy. So I have to say that I'm very enthusiastic about Google tools. I took an entire campus from their existing system, which was just basically an antiquated email system, to Gmail, and then from there to all the Google apps that we'll go over right now. And for us, it was really kind of a revolution. I mean, the functionality and the ability to collaborate, and also the ability to save documents in the cloud and access them from any computer, basically anywhere, anytime, was pretty revolutionary for the campus at that point. Not so much cloud stuff has come a long way now, so you all are probably familiar with that, but I still think that Google Apps and the Gmail interface represents a real improvement, as Christy mentioned, over what we have right now, which is Office 365. If you're interested in being able to collaborate easily with your students, set up scenarios where your students can collaborate in real time on a document or on an Excel sheet, for instance, this is really for you, I think. Has anyone here used Google tools at all? Can you say a little bit how you've used them, possibly? Mm-hmm.
Being able to access all the Google things.
Great, great. Excellent, thank you. Anyone else, any familiarity with Gmail? Okay, so the first thing, which I'm pretty sure Christy already mentioned, is that you and your students have to have, or it's easiest if you have a Google account. So if you guys right now have a laptop, if you just Google sign in, you can go and sign yourself up with the Google account. And it's free. And as has already been mentioned, they just keep upping and upping the storage space. So it's almost infinite in a certain sense. I've never reached the end of it, as Christy mentioned. What I'm going to go ahead and do is log into my account. And this is something that can be a little bit challenging to get used to at first. If you have multiple people, say in a family, using Google accounts, the Google account will get kind of embedded in your browser, and so you'll end up on an account and you'll want to switch out. But it's really easy. You go into the icon over here and hit sign out, and I'm going to go into my Google account. And there's going to be a little bit different in the sign in here because my account is an institutional account for the University of Hawaii system. So it's going to take me back to my sign in, but you guys won't have to do anything like this when you set yourself up. What's going on? No, I don't want to do that. Not sure what it's trying to get me to do. Sorry, folks, I'm not sure what it's trying to get me to do here. There we go. Okay, so as Christy already mentioned, the way that you create a new document is with this new button. But just as far as the interface goes, that little series of gray squares up there, that's the way that you're going to access all of the different apps that are available. So if you hover over this, you can jump to Gmail, you can jump to a search, you can jump to Drive or Calendar or Sheets, and all these are the different apps that people are going to touch on at various times this morning. But for right now, I'm just going to go ahead and create a Google Doc. And you can create a Google Doc by uploading a Word document or a PDF document, but I'm just going to go ahead and create one, a brand new one here. And the interface itself is in some ways kind of a pared down version of Word. But as Christy already mentioned, it's actually really powerful. It's become more and more powerful since they first came out with this suite of tools. And I think that one of the real strengths of Google's tools in general is what we're essentially using is we're using the tools that their developers and that their entire staff at Google use all the time. And so they're continually upgrading and improving them, and that's at no cost to us, which is a real selling point, and it comes through in a lot of really interesting ways. So move this over again here. So basically from the file menu, the other kind of an important thing here is that once you've put all the work into creating something within Google Docs, you can actually then go and directly download it as a Microsoft Word document or a PDF. It gives you all these different ways to get it out of the Google system. So in no way are you limited to accessing it online. A friend of mine recently completed their entire PhD thesis on Google Drive. And one of the interesting ways that they worked with it is that they have multiple places in their thesis open at the same time at different places on the desktop so that they could be editing one section and then they could look at a different section and continually editing. And another really powerful feature that's come online recently for Google Docs is a research tool. And I'll show you that. You can automatically embed footnotes and citations from Google Scholar into it as well. So up here, just basically you can print. These two arrows are undo and redo. So if you want to jump back and forth through the document, these are all pretty standard functionalities. Where things kind of start to get interesting is I'm going to go ahead and, if I can find my list, I'm going to go ahead and share all of this with you. But first, I'm going to go back into my Google Drive and find a document that I just created earlier this morning with all of your email addresses. Let's see, yeah, right here. And another thing, just as far as usability goes, you'll notice with Google Apps and Google Drive that each time you access a different item, you're creating a different tab in your browser. So until you get used to that, it can be kind of confusing. So you want to remember that instead of necessarily using a back button or another way to navigate, you can just jump back and forth between the tabs or close them out if there are too many of them. But for right now, I'm just going to grab all the emails of everyone who registered. I don't think we quite have everybody here, but I'm going to go ahead and put everyone in. And then I'm going to go back to my new document. And as has already been mentioned, collaboration is probably the keystone of all of the Google apps and one of the biggest strengths of Google Docs. And in order to create that kind of active online or real-time or even asynchronous collaboration, the way that you do that is you click the share button. And we have to give it a name first. I'll just call this and I'm going to go ahead and paste in all the email addresses that I had. Oh, I'm sorry. I can go back and change it later. That's what's in. And you can add a note. I'll say, oh, where did that happen? Can't be email. Just have to, okay, well, start. What's happening to here? Looks like I lost my document here. Go back.
The emails you use would be the WyoCourses, not the Wyo, as opposed to the Gmail.
You can use any email, and it's gonna, when the system, once you share it with someone, the system sends an email out to everyone that it was shared with. And if that person doesn't already have a Gmail account, it'll ask them if they want to create one. And you can also create the editing rights so that even someone without a Gmail account can actually access the document too. So you can really kind of open it up essentially to the world, really. Looks like my share thing. I'm going to go ahead and redo that share.
And if you have a Gmail account or a Google account, it's not an awesome idea to get multiple. I mean, so there's always a question when you start of whether you should use your UW kind of professional one and you all that kind of stuff. I would just suggest kind of picking one. Because I find it too trouble. I have to do it probably a lot. So it's jumping back and forth. You have to log out of one, log back in, and actually using your UW account can also be. I set mine up before the switch over to Google thing. It's all that. Just trying to keep track of one is probably better. I mean, you can have folders for like professional and not professional if you want, but I think it's a good idea.
So,
And if you were to leave UW, you use that log.
I'm going to go ahead and I just shared these with Meg and Christy down here so that hopefully they can log in and maybe start doing something in the document. But for now, I'm going to go out and grab some text. Let's go grab a definition for active learning. Okay, so I just grabbed a definition for active learning. So now, as you start to see, we have one person has come in, Meg has come in, and I'm going to just go over and start talking about the different editing modes that are available. One of the, I think, most powerful recent changes to Google Docs is that it now interfaces directly with track changes in Microsoft Word. So you can take a document that you've used track changes in, and you can upload it to Google Docs, and those track changes are going to come in. I'll show you exactly how they come in as suggestions. And it works both ways. So if you go through a Google Doc and you make what in Google is called suggestions, which are essentially edits that are have an explanation to the side, the exact same way that track changes works. Then when you download your Google Doc as a Word document, then your comments become track changes. So that was a real kind of Achilles heel, I think, in an academic sense for people who were using this tool before. But now that it's directly transferred back and forth across, then you can really, there's not that barrier, because a lot of people who like to use Microsoft Word and heavily use track changes that was a thing that made them kind of shy away from Google Docs. But now you can go both ways, and it's really pretty exciting. So now we're on the commenting mode. So any change that I make in here, we'll say, I'll just put it in another word. Say I added a word, even though it doesn't make sense. As you can see on the side, now this it's really kind of frustrating. But anyway, it just says Phineas added the word "and" in here. And then what someone else can go do is they can go reply to this, and or they can accept the change to get it out the exact same way that it works in track changes in Microsoft Word. One of the other really powerful tools that I mentioned earlier, besides just the core of this incredible collaboration, is the research tool. And that's something that's also relatively recent. So I'll click on this button under the Tools tab. And then it allows me to, let's see, I'll go into, for our topic of active learning. It's going to give us huge amounts of content about active learning. And if I hover over these individual elements, if I hover over these individual links, you see this button that comes up, Insert Link and Cite. So you can either automatically footnote it, or you can bring in a citation. So I'm going to do both. I'm going to insert a link into the document, and then I'm also going to cite it. So then it's pulling that right out of the web. So if I go down, then I've just automatically created a footnote for myself. And, and that is, of course, just from a website. So it's not necessarily appropriate for a scholarly article or anything like that. But in that vein, there's also, I don't know, are any of you familiar with Google Scholar? Have you ever used Google Scholar? Wait, what did you use it for? Mm-hmm. Mm.
And then I also track a number of students that do a similar work.
Mm-hmm.
So if they have a new citation, it pops up with scholar. And then the other thing is you can create alerts, like if somebody publishes in their area,
Mm.
somebody area portals. So if somebody publishes something like that,
Oh, wonderful. It's really similar to the things that are available on Web of Science and some of those other big databases like that, huh? Mm-hmm.
And my Gmail account, I don't have to worry about logging in.
Mm-hmm.
Library, like just that helps.
It's really seamless, isn't it? Yeah, yeah. I've used it a lot just for straight research, and it's such an easy way to grab the type of citation that you want for a paper or even an article. I don't know that Google Scholar touches all of the databases, but it gets a lot of them, you know. Yeah, it's really powerful.
I know that there's a research tool that's done a lot of work, and I have her in my own Google Scholar library.
Mm-hmm.
And I click that research, and will it then link to my Google Scholar library?
I don't know. That's a really good question. I wonder. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have I personally don't have a Google Scholar library yet. So yeah, I'm not sure how that works. Yeah, but it might very well. I don't know. Another kind of, thank you. Another kind of fun aspect of the research tool is that you can look for quotes specifically as well. That works really well. And anyway, just suffice it to say that this is something that I think can be really valuable both for us and also for our students. And the way that I came across this was just talking about plagiarism, and what can we offer students, as a way to be sure that they have the tools that they need to quickly and easily cite the work that we ask them to do for us. And I think that this, it's a powerful tool. It's definitely something that's worth mentioning to your students, and especially if you're at all interested in using Google Drive and Google Docs for I'm not sure. I would have to research that too. I don't, yeah, we can definitely talk about it though. I'm sorry, but. What was that? So as Christy already mentioned, the organizational aspects of how to work with Google Docs and Google Drive, but I think for me, the hardest thing to get used to was the tabbing, as I mentioned earlier, just kind of getting confused by every time I did something new, it created a new tab. And so I ended up jumping around and getting kind of lost in the system for a while. Another thing to be aware of, you can star things, one of the ways that they try to help you organize stuff. But just in general, I found that just straight searching is the way that I end up accessing my content in my Google Drive, or just all the Google content that I create. Because when you think about it, you have essentially Google's search tool, which is one of the most powerful that exists, working for you in that split second to try and find what it is that you need. And it's much more powerful than anything in the Microsoft Office suite or other search. So just, when in doubt, just search it, because it is Google. Unless there are any other specific questions about Google Docs, I've given really just a quick run through here, but we will have time throughout the day and this afternoon to work with you individually on it. Any questions about Google Docs or anything anyone else would like to, besides what? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do they then have to, without using Google Docs, do they then have to create their own email account?
There's a couple different ways that you can work with Google in WyoCourses. Like to set up a collaborative document, it's actually, the integration is built in to WyoCourses. So if you want to give them, say, okay, everyone needs to, or this group needs to collaborate on this document, that's built in as a collaborative tool. So that's relatively easy, because the system will then either prompt them to make a Google account, or it'll handle that part of it for you. And there's a couple of other kind of details to that, but that's just basically within WyoCourses, that's the core way that it works. Yeah, and the students are also able to submit a Google Doc as an assignment too, which is the other way that the integration works. And also, you have to register your Google address in WyoCourses so that you can work with it. And I think we'll go into that later later this morning. So I think now we're going to break up into the. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. All right. So, and one thing too, to address your question, is depends on how you set up your sharing, right? So if you set up a sharing so that they have to log in to change it, then they would have to have a login to get into the document. If you set it up so that that anybody can edit, then they don't have to have a login. So it depends on what you're trying to do. If you're actually trying to track what student has done what, right? If you actually want to know that, you need them to log in so you know which it is. But if you're just trying to get a collaborative document together, and that is not a really important piece of it, and you're just trying to get a bunch of information, then that's fine too. Because there's value in both. I mean, a collaborative document that's open that has no login is kind of like an anonymous survey. So you can collect information in a way that's really different and interesting. So I mean, and using it in a sharing scenario is actually really quite it is what is the power of Google Docs in a lot of ways. There, I mean, when I look at it, some of the things that some of the key features of a Google Drive type thing is that it's available on anything. I use it on my phone all the time. I mean, access it on my phone. I can access it on my, on my tablet. I can access it on any computer anywhere. And that's super, super nice. Especially if you're like, somebody calls you and wants something, you're like, oh gosh, I'm sitting at dinner, but I can actually get to that because I have my Google Drive. And that's super handy. The other one is that it's backed up, right? So it's always backed up by Google, which, Google's servers fail. The odds of Google's servers failing are much, 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 much lower than they are of my failing, that's for sure, or my losing my computer or breaking my computer or losing my jump drive or whatever. There's all kinds of things. I remember when I was doing my dissertation, people were saying, you need to have 2 jump drives with your dissertation on it, and one of them should live in the freezer. And, and I'm like, or just live in Google Docs, and I don't have to worry about it at all because it'll be backed up, okay? So that's another one. And then the final one is the incredible sharing opportunities that we have, right? That's really important to be able to share it, because maybe I want to write the whole bunch of stuff, but then I want Meg to read it over for me afterwards. And that's super easy for her to go in and do that suggesting thing. So I'm going to go over, we talked about Google Docs. I'm actually going to go talk to you about Google Sheets. So not that one, go to this one, not that one. Well, that'll work, right? Somewhere there. Let's try this. There we go. And so Google Sheet, I wonder if I should log out actually. Is that going to be a thing that's going to be a pain in the neck right here? Boy, go away. You need to go away. Hang on a sec. Okay, there we go. Are we still in Jeff's? I think I'll switch people just because this will be, I actually want to log out. You know what, let's do something else. Let me just go into a different browser. I'll go into Firefox. That'll be easier in the long run. Go away. I do not like that thing. Go to Firefox. There we go, okay. Go away. Let me go back and share with a different window now. Okay, share screen. Firefox. Not now. Okay. I don't like this thing that bounces down from the top. I find that very irritating. Okay. This is making the assumption that I know my password. Nope, I don't, clearly. All right. So I'm going to go into my Google Drive. Go. So Sheets is really awesome because it can do, it's a way to do spreadsheets. One of the things that's really cool about this is all of these is that you can real time see what people are doing. The one thing about Sheets is that you can't edit the same cell at the same moment. Just like you can in the docs, if you try to edit the same word at the same moment, it can be problematic too. But if you're in the same sheet, or in the same, if you're in the same sheet at the same time, then that's problematic. But it also gives you a lot of interesting features. It will allow you, so if you have multiple sheets, so in Excel, you can do all these formulas, and most of the formulas will work. Sometimes there's slight adjustments, and you just do a search for a formula online, and it'll find it for sheets. But it allows you to do all kinds of interesting formulas, and it will allow you to connect them across sheets, which is pretty cool, because since they're all cloud-based, I can actually have multiple sheets that will take the information from one sheet and dump it into another sheet so I can continue to work. I don't know, are any of you guys like big on using Excel and stuff like that? I don't know how in depth to go. Okay. So for example, the registration you guys did was a form, and it turns it into a sheet. So you can see, here's our registration for the boot camp, and it gives us a timestamp. This is what happens when you do a form, but it creates a sheet, and you can see this is basically just a spreadsheet. So you can go as simple as that kind of thing, and you can also go very complicated. So you can do things like, so I coach the Nordic ski team on campus, and actually I'm the coordinator for our entire conference. And we do this really complicated point system, because skiing with skiing, you can't just do like how fast you are, because all the conditions change everything all the time. So like a time for a 5K is completely meaningless, because it can be like 11 minutes or it can be like 30 minutes. And so depending on the conditions of the snow. So we have this really complex point system, which you can see over here. And I can do all kinds of really interesting things with sheets by going through, and I can go through the races, and I can have these points, and each of these tabs can then be figured into the next round. So if we go into here, we can see that if I go over, you can see that there are points over here, and these are the points. And these points, I can make this go in, and by using a formula, let me find one of the formulas. This is being really slow for some unknown reason. So you can see this formula up here, which is saying a pretty complex formula that says, if this last name shows up in that sheet, then you take this point and stick it in there. And I'm able to automate it in really, really intricate ways. I can do that within sheets, or I can do this across sheets. So if I wanted to do the same thing, it would actually access a sheet that was somewhere else. So I could access in a results sheet if I wanted, and say, find this last name, pull this thing and do this. And it's really kind of cool what you can do with this. If you use Excel extensively, this is a really helpful thing. You also can just use it in very easy ways, right? You can also use it just as a very simple spreadsheet type of thing, to keep track of things. Like, so this is our licenses for Camtasia. It's very simple to just keep track of stuff. We can just see, keep track of who has what license or whatever. That's helpful. And your students can go in and make things together. You're also able to take any of these products and basically share or embed them in other web pages. So if you looked, when you interacted with our stuff to come to this show, to come to this session, when you looked at the schedule, that was an embedded Google Doc, which is really helpful to us because all we have to do is change the Google Doc and it automatically updates the web page, okay, because it was an embedded web page. And the same thing happened with spreadsheets and everything else we use. So that's another really cool thing. And these can be shared. So we have, this is the Shepherd Symposium budget, because I'm the co-chair of the Shepherd Symposium. And when you go into there, this is shared with a bunch of people so that we all can go in and see the budget, as opposed to like one person having access to the budget and nobody knows, then they have to ask one person. We can all kind of go run in and see it and add stuff too, if we have stuff to add. And you can all, I was gonna see if I could find one that to show you that had shared stuff across, hang on, being slow again. Come on, move. Shared stuff across sheets, but I guess I don't have to, you get the idea, I think. And I'm, I can go, and if you're interested in some of the real intricacies of how this works, I'd be happy to show you, but I mean, only one person was really, really into it, so maybe we can sit down with her. But it's really powerful. I mean, it can be really simple, as much as just as simple as just a list. I keep, all kinds of information about my students, and I will make a spreadsheet with my students so that I can keep track of like what their favorite thing is, and then I can just kind of jump back and search through it and find it, because as Phineas says, the searching is one of the best things in here. I can actually even search my entire drive for a student name, and it'll pop up the thing that they're in, which is really cool. Does anybody have any questions about that? It's a very basic spreadsheet. Oh, it also does graphs, actually. Let me just see if I can find. Let me show you this. So this is a training log that I developed for the ski team as well. And what's really cool about it is that I can put down all this information that I need for the training log. But I can also, if I can roll, there we go. So I keep track of all this stuff like resting temperature, resting heart rate, sleep hours, sleep quality, all this kind of stuff. And when I go down, I can make it so that it automatically creates graphs for me. So I set up these graphs ahead of time. So you can see this graph is filled out, right? And there's more graphs. So there's more graphs. So you can see the graphs are filled out down here, and you can see all the different different data we're collecting. But you can see also, if I go to July, there's nothing in there yet. And so I can set these graphs up ahead of time to look for certain data. And when if you go down here, what you're going to see the graphs are there, but there's nothing in them. So they automatically populate as I add things. And so that's a kind of a neat thing too, because you can do the graphing that you can do in Excel, you can also do in Google Docs as well. And or in Google spreadsheets as well. And it'll allow you to do all kinds of stuff. And like I said, it'll populate as it goes. And I have one at the very end that is like the yearly totals. And this will just kind of add up as it goes. So it has stuff in there, but it's only for the piece of the year that I've done. And every time I add something, all the spreadsheets for all of the graphs and all the spreadsheets will automatically update if I add one number. Everything will change. So it's super cool the way that you can connect them in an online thing. The cool thing about this too, right, is that if I give this online spreadsheet or online training log to one of my athletes, then they can share that with me. And then I don't have to ask them to give it to me at certain times. I can just go look at it anytime I want, or they can ask me to look at it. It's really easy. But that can also be done, that's an example of a ski team thing, but you can do that with students too. You can have them create a spreadsheet that you can then see how that works. Okay, now I'm finished. Anybody have any questions about that? Okay, I'm going to let Jeff have his computer back. And we probably need to change the sharing again. Come on. Where's the Zoom? Oh, it's up here, never mind. Let's stop share and go back to share the other one. We should probably just share the desktop, shouldn't I? Then it doesn't matter where we are.
Yeah, I have to find my way around.
Yeah. So anyway, I'll let you go back to your, there are too many tabs open.
I'm Jeff Miller with Outreach Credit Programs. Let's see, I want to just make sure. I'm going to stop sharing for a second here. Nancy and Oksana, you can still hear us, correct? Right? Just shake your head. All right, good. A smile. That's good. Okay.
Yes, I can.
Excellent. Thank you.
Took me a while to get out there.
What's that?
It took me a while to get it working on my computer, the volume, but I'm there now.
Oh, good, good. Excellent. Okay. So I'll go back here to share screen. I'll try to repeat the questions for you guys. I think we're kind of doing that. Okay, but so I'm going to talk about Google Forms. You know what? I don't use Google Docs. I don't use Google nearly as much as the people who've talked to you so far. I have used Forms quite a bit, actually. And I can tell you what I like about Forms and also kind of what I don't like about Forms. I'm going to jump in here and see. I'm not sure. Are we logged in as any of you guys right now? Are we still me? Me? Okay. All right. So, okay. So you'll notice Google Forms isn't in this list here. I don't know if it's because I don't use it enough. And it's not in this list either. So I have to go down here to even more stuff. And then I got to come down here to, is it Home and Office? There it is right there, Google Forms. So Google Forms, oh, here we go. Okay. Okay, so Google Forms is a, no, please, quit bugging me. Okay, so Google Forms is a survey, basically a survey tool, and it's got some kind of cool features, and they've actually improved it quite a bit recently. So you can, you build your form here, and then when people complete it, you just click on responses, and it produces all these beautiful graphs and things. Let me, actually, I'm going to jump in. Well, I'll show you the building first, since we're here. So you can give your form a name. You can give it a little name here, and we're going to just call this Boot Camp Sample. Okay, and then you can start putting your questions in, and I don't know that you have to give every question a title. I'm not going to give that one a title. You can choose what kind of question it is, and you got all kinds of options here. Short answer, paragraph. I'm not sure how short the short answer is. When I was kind of playing around with this last night to get ready for this, I tried to fill it in, and it just let me keep going. So I don't know really how, what the difference is, but I'm sure paragraph lets you enter more text. You can do multiple choice, check boxes. So multiple choice would be they can choose one option. Check boxes, they can choose more than one option. Like how do you use, like we surveyed people on Zoom, how they use it. Like, how do you use Zoom? And then you give them several choices and they can check more than one. You can have a drop-down list of options for them. You can have a 1 through 5 scale if you want. And this is kind of cool, this multiple choice grid. This is it's a tool that lets you have a series of answers for a series of variables, I guess. So we survey, every semester we survey students and faculty about how they like their service, their student services, or their support from outreach. And this would be a great tool. This would be a great format for this one question we ask about student services, where we have a list of things like the library, financial aid, the dean of students, these different student services, and you can create, let me click on that. You can create, just to show you here. So you can create columns and rows. So row 1 would be the library. Row 2 would be this. Row 3 would be this. And then column 1 would be, so you have all the services down the side, and then across the top you have never used it, didn't know it existed, have used it and I liked it, have used it and I didn't like it. And then they can check the little radio button in each one. Instead of asking 10 separate questions, or well, I don't know, 40 separate questions for each one, you can just make a grid. So I think that's kind of cool. We could also just trash this question if we don't like it. And then over here, you have this little menu thing. So this allows you to add a question. Okay. This allows you to add a title. So if you want to split your survey up into different sections, you can title each one. This allows you to add an image. And you guys, okay, everyone can see this. Okay. And this allows you to add a video. And this allows you to add a section. And what's nice about adding a section is that you can send them to a section based on their answer to a question. So, for example, when we surveyed our Zoom faculty this spring, we had a question that said, have you experienced technical problems? And if they said yes, then we sent them to another section that had another series of questions about how often and what kind of problems. And if they said no, then we said just go to the next section. Just go to the next question. So it's pretty nice in that sense. You have a lot of different features, a lot of different. So these are the specific survey, adding questions, building the survey, and then you have this bunch of menu items up here, where you can make a copy of the survey, you can throw it in the trash. I'm not exactly sure what that is. I think you can pre-fill answers for them, maybe. I'm not sure exactly. You can print the survey, okay? You can add collaborators, just like we did with Google Docs. And then there's this. Okay, so if you want to get into HTML and stuff, you can do script editor. Maybe modify it more precisely, perhaps. I want to show you, are there questions about forums right now? Oh, one other thing. Which one is it? I think it's add collaborators. Let me check. It's not totally clear. I think it's this one. No, wait a minute. Link only accessible. So I was thinking that was it, but maybe not. There's a way to embed this in WyoCourses. Which one? It was one of these. I just played with this last night. Let's see. Yeah, that's not it. I'll figure that out though. But there's a way you can just put embed code in WyoCourses so the form shows up in WyoCourses. And it's easy. I just am drawing a blank here. Let me go back to my Google account here. When I get back. I'm just going to close that and just get into. Oh, it's in Send. It's in Send. That's right. I knew it was one. Okay. Yes. Okay. Is this me here? No, this is Phineas. Okay. So I want to log out. Good Lord, I can't see anything here. All right. Can I log out here? Right here. Sign out. I just want to show you some forms results that we. Let's see. Can I just go to Google and sign in? Okay. Sorry about this. There we go. All right. Drive. just want to show you what the results look like. And this I think is really cool here. So here we go, student Zoom survey. So this is our Google form we created to survey students. And if you go here, we have 87 responses. And we click responses here. And we get these cool graphs, right? Get these really cool graphs. And if you hover over these, it tells you the number of people and so forth, which is really cool. So one thing that was really annoyed me about this is that you can't share these results with anyone without making them collaborators on the document. You can't print this. You can't, I mean, you can screenshot it, you know, but you can't print it. You can't just embed this in a document. You know, you can't do anything with these beautiful graphs unless you have a bunch of collaborators on the document. You know, then you can share, then you can, you know, anybody that's a collaborator on the document can see them, and you can invite collaborators without allowing them edit privileges, which maybe that's what you do. But like I wanted to send these results to the people who took the survey, and I wasn't going to make them all collaborators. I don't know, maybe I could, and maybe I'm, you know, overreacting to that. But so we had a great person working for us for a while who turned all these into PDFs, but it took some effort. So I think they kind of need to work on that. It'd be nice to be able to just say share results or embed results, or I don't know what it would look like, but it would be really nice to be able to share these easily, or print them off in a PDF so then you could scan them or whatever it is, or save them and upload them. But in any case, very nice and very convenient, just not for sharing. And I'm not trying to throw Google Docs under the bus, but it's really cool though. It is nice. I would say like uses for this, I think it's nice for little surveys. It's certainly good for surveys, for, you know, if you're doing like real research surveys, you know, like for your thesis or something, I would use SurveyMonkey or the UW survey tool, because with this, you can't tell who's completed it. You know, you can't, unless they tell you they've completed it. When I sent this out to faculty and stuff, I just had to keep apologizing for reminding them and saying, if you've already filled this out, ignore it. And at some point, students got irritated with me. But so it's nicer if it can block out people who've already responded. It's nice, but it's a nice feature, I think, Google Forms, and it's easy to use. Any questions? All right. Who's next? Is it Oksana? I'm gonna.
Yes, that's my turn.
Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen here.
Can you let me share my screen?
You can share your screen.
Let me do that.
I will.
Can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can.
Can you see it?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect. So I went full screen, so I won't be able to see anyone because I'm in the presenter view. So let me know if something goes wrong, okay?
Okay, we'll do. I'm going to hold on to this microphone, so if there's a question here, I can translate it to you.
Sounds good. So this is Oksana Wasilek from UW Casper, and I'm very excited to present about Google Slides. I just came back from the Google training in Riverton that took place on Friday and Saturday last week. So I tried to include a lot of little things that I've learned about Google Slides. And I'm using Google Slides a lot, and I discovered that I started using them more and more just within the last year. So you can follow my presentation if you have a device following this link. I will keep the slide for a few seconds for you so that if you want to follow it or you want to make a copy of it for your own records on your Google Drive. So my presentation is going to focus on not what Google slides can do the same way as PowerPoint, which is Google Slide is a solution to replace kind of PowerPoint. I will focus on things that it can do better than PowerPoint. So, so what is Google Slides? Google Slides is online collaborative presentation application. So presentation application means that it has a lot of functionality similar to PowerPoint. You can find it if you go to your Google Drive, click Create button, and after that, you will be able to get to Google Slides right away. The other easy way to get to Google Slides or any Google application, if you just type in slides.google.com, or you can type in doc.google.com, or you can type in like forms.google.com. So this is the easiest way for you to get there, or you can just do Google search. So what Google Slides can do better than PowerPoint, in my opinion? I think that slide design can be much easier using Google Slides than using just regular PowerPoint. You can very easily insert images and videos, and I will show you just in a second how I do that. So here's a blank slide. My next slide is blank. So for me to insert image very easily, I just go again to images. And here I have a bunch of options to insert my images. So I can upload an image from my computer if I want to, which is similar to PowerPoint. I can also take a snapshot of using my own camera, like of myself, for example, right now. If I have a URL for an image, I can type in it here. I can also access my albums if I'm using Picasso, let's say. I can also use my images from Google Drive, anything that has been shared with me or I've created on my Google Drive, or I can search images using Google search, or I can use live or stock images. I think this is pretty nicely integrated, and you have more choices here than just with regular PowerPoint, where you're limited either to your computer or to being search. So let me show you how I will insert an image very easily. So let's say I want to use an image from my Google Drive, and I'll just scroll down. And here is an image that I want to select, and it just inserts it, and then I can edit it right here if I want to. And then if I want to add text, I just click on the text, insert text, and then I just type whatever text I want, and you're pretty much done. You can also play with other things like backgrounds and things like that, which is again similar to PowerPoint, but it's up to you. So the other thing that is easy to design a slide with is inserting charts, and your charts in Google Slides will be integrated with Google Sheets. That's what Christy was talking about. And let me show you how to insert a chart. So I'm going to an empty slide again. So you'll just go to insert and then chart. And similar to PowerPoint, you can either create a chart from scratch, or you can already use a chart that has been created in Sheets. And so in my case, I have a chart that I created yesterday just for a demo purpose. And so I selected it, and then it's just going to import that particular chart. If your Google Sheet has more than one chart, it will appear there, so you can, again, insert it as an image and then put some text here. Very easily edited. I also wanted to talk about slide design using research tool. Phineas covered that research tool a little bit when he was talking about Google Docs. The way how I learned to use research tool here, I just use it for creating slides. So, for example, you can look at this slide, and I'm going to recreate this slide right now very fast. So I will go and under Tools, and I will open Research Tool here. And I will go and look for images, because I want to add an image. That's another way to add image. And when I search for images, I want to make sure that I'm searching for images that I allowed for reuse, share, and modify. And then I will search for an image. Let's say I want to search for an image of Google. And this is an image that I can use, and I'll just drag it here. And then I can modify it. And then I can also add some text. I can add background. If you want to add a quote, again, you will go and look for a quote, let's say by Sergey Brin, the founder of Google. I don't know if you want to be inspired by what he said. So obviously I cannot search it that way, but if it's someone more famous, you can find, like, let's say Albert Einstein quote. I can look for his quotes here. You can see, and I can just insert a quote and then modify it. So it's very easy to create content, like especially if you have like simple slides, just images and a little bit of text. And I find this research tool very useful. So the other thing that I wanted to focus that Google Slides allows to do better than PowerPoint, I mean, it's very hard to do in PowerPoint, is sharing, collaboration, and embedding. So sharing is very similar to what you've seen with other Google solutions. So you just click on this blue button in the top right corner, and then you can choose with whom you want to share. You can share it with just specific people, or you can allow people to view it on the web like you have it, or you can allow anyone who has a link to edit it or comment on your document. You can also, like, you will use sharing with specific people if you want to collaborate on this particular document. The other thing that I wanted to show you is how to embed your Google Slides. Let's say if you want to embed it into WyoCourses course shell, you'll just go to File and Publish to the Web. This is important to remember. And then here, you have two tabs, Link and Embed. And you can go and click on Embed, and you will copy this iframe code, HTML code, and you will copy that thing into your HTML code for the page in WyoCourses that you will create. And then it will look very nicely embedded. And then every time you change your presentation, it will automatically change anywhere where you embedded it. So this is a nice capability that, that Google Slides allows you to have. So the next thing that I wanted to show you that I really like, that you can now poll, use polling, those clicker solutions, and straight in Google Slides. So the one that I'm using is Poll Everywhere. UW has a license for this tool, and we're going to talk about it during our August bootcamp. So hopefully you will be interested in coming to the August bootcamp. And you can also try Poll Everywhere free version before you decide whether you want to use it. So you can upload to your Google Chrome an app. You're recommended to use Google Chrome anyway with those Google application solutions, because they will work the best in Google Chrome. And so you will get your Poll Everywhere app in the Google Store. And then you will have this tab, like I have a tab here, you see, like next to the table, Poll Everywhere. And then I will be able to insert my polls or create my polls while I'm in Google Slides. So I will show you how this works. So if you go to this link, if you have your tool, if you have your device in front of you, it's pollev.com. Oksana Vasily 501, you will be able to participate in this poll. So when I'm in present mode in my Google Slides, you can poll your students, and you can get your answer, the student answers right away. And so it can be used for formative assessment, let's say. So I want to see if any of you have ever used Google Slides and how often you use them. I don't see any answers coming yet. I will give you a few more seconds. I see that never answer. There is a person who uses it always. Rarely, okay. So this is the idea, and I think it's, I really like this integration piece between Poll Everywhere and Google Slides. And then you can see that the chart disappears if I go away from the presentation mode. So the one more thing that I wanted to show you is how to make a copy of your Google Slides presentation. So if you want to share your Google Slides presentation or to make someone to copy it to their personal Google Drive, you can just copy that link for your Google presentation. You will just copy it, and then you will paste it in the tab, and then you will change this last piece that includes added word to copy, and then you will copy this whole link there. And so you can embed this link anywhere, and then that will make those people with whom you want to share this particular document to copy it to their Google Drive directly. And this will also work with any Google document like Google Doc, Google Sheets, Google Forms. So you can share easily things with your colleagues or students that way. So, and the last thing that I'm going to talk about is application of Google Slides. So obviously you can create and share content using Google Slides. This is pretty easy to do with this tool. You can collaborate with your colleagues who are spread out internationally or nationally. This is very easy to look for their comments, just similar to Google Doc. Again, like here next to share, you can add comments, you know, and you can see who commented and what, and using revision history similar to Google Docs, you can see who changed the document. So this is pretty neat feature that you can use. You can also create student collaborative projects when each student has to create certain slide, you know, or slides. And if you want students to follow a specific template, you can, by using this making copy functionality, you can create and share a template with your students. And then I think there are a number of ideas, and you can be very creative in how you will collaborate or share or use Google Slides with your students. So there is a person there who said that always uses Google Slides. Are there any other ideas about how you can use Google Slides in the classroom?
I got the mic on. For questions or suggestions.
For suggestions?
Everybody's
Cool.
be quiet.
Well, this is all I had to say about Google Slides. I hope you will enjoy using it if you've never used it or rarely used it. And I think it has a lot of functionality that PowerPoint does not have. And then you will never lose your slides, just because everything is saved on your Google Drive. Thank you.
Thanks, Oksana. Yeah, so I mean, once again, it's a wonderful way to collaborate. I know a lot of us have students do collaborative presentations, and if you're going to introduce this to them, so they can collaborate in this space. One of the huge advantages of this is that you can actually be part of that group as well and see what's going on and actually see who's changed what, like you do in every other Google product. So that's a really helpful thing. Yeah, Kate. Yes, there is. Let me, this is a very good question, and let me just show you how that might be done.
Can you repeat the question for us here?
Yes, I'm so sorry. She was asking about, what she wanted to know was how you actually tracked the changes in a Google Doc. Like, so how did you tell what students did what, essentially, is what she's saying. Because she's saying WyoCourses, you can download activity reports and stuff like that, but how do you actually tell what's going on? Or when students are doing this? I'm going to try to find our, maybe it was up here, our planning document. So I think we have some changes in this. So I think these are basically in the same places on all the different apps. You might have to search around a little bit. I know initially they were in one place for Word or for the documents and one place for the spreadsheets, and I don't know why that is. No, I'm not. Thank you. Let me share my screen. That would be good. Share the screen. Share the desktop. What's the matter?
Oh, nothing. It wasn't going to you when you spoke, but we have our set in gallery view.
Okay.
Still doesn't make sense, really.
You can hear me, Oksana. Is that right? Maybe. Maybe not. Come on. Let me see if I can go back and make sure everybody's. Okay, Nancy and Oksana, can you hear me? Okay, great. Got it. Are you,
Now switch back to.
Christy, I also learned about other cool way to check the history of the Google Doc or any document. If you install extension, which is called Zoo add-on to Google Doc for checking, no, hold on a second. Checking Google Doc history, draft back extension, that's the one. And if you install this extension, it will show you the whole video of how the document was edited. It's pretty cool, yeah. So it's called draft back extension. You can get it for free.
Put that in a chat real quick. And
Okay.
I'll show them the traditional way, and then I'll go back to that in a minute here. So put it in chat and I'll find it. Okay, so what you generally can do is you can go in and you can go find what they say a revision history. So somewhere in the Google app thing that you're using, there's a thing called revision history. Sometimes it's in different, it seems, I think they've kind of moved to the file menu at this point, but it has moved around a little bit. Yes. Where, right here? Sorry, hang on. Yeah, just like, okay, so next to help, oh, right here. Oh, right here. Okay, cool. So you can do that or go to revision history. That's awesome, thank you. And what you can see, this is the revision history. So this is telling you what has happened. And if you click on one of these, it will actually go back and show this to you and show you what the revision was, if we can find it. So there, that's this right there. So you see that purple highlighting, because we know it's purple because it's purple on this little box. So whatever you choose, if I click on this, it's going to go back and it's going to show us what this one was right there. So that's how you can see what was going on. And this day you can see like there was a bunch of it because we had a meeting that day and we were all sitting in there doing it at the same time. You can also go in here and show and you can also notice that right here, so you can see all of these different changes that were going on by different people. So the green is me and the blue is Oksana. The yellow is Trina. The brown is, I don't know, Phineas maybe. So you kind of see how that works. And so you can go back and see it. If, like I talked about how a student can delete an entire page and it's all gone and you're like, this is terrible. You can actually go back and see where it says restore this version. I can just click on that and that will be the new version. And that will go back to that version. So if you go through and you're like, wait a minute, we did this whole work and this is not useful or we lost it or something, you can just restore another version. Does that help answer your question there, Kate? And it works on basically all of the Google Drive things is that. And I think we'll go back and see if we can find Oksana's video because that sounds fun. Which I've not used at all, but that sounds fun. Let me find the chat. Okay, draft back extension. Okay, let's try that. Let's see if we can find that. Let's share screen again.
It's too bad we don't have that history revision thing for actual history. Right?
Yeah, isn't that the truth?
You go back and find out what really happened and where did it go like this.
Christy, you have to go not to add-ons, but you have to go to actually Google Store, Google Chrome Store, and get an extension there.
Okay, I'm not going to do that at this exact moment. Maybe I'll show it. I'll get it during the break, and we'll show you after the break. So we're going to take a break right now, actually, and try to give you like a 5 or 10 minute break. Kind of try to be back in like 5-ish minutes. Go to get some water, wander around. If you have any questions on anything thus far, or anything that you wish we had covered that we didn't, let us know so we can adapt the second half of this thing. But we're just trying to give you, some ideas of all these things that all the tools can do. so that then, you know, we can work with you individually on what you might want to do. So yeah, take a break.